Good evening and welcome to A View from the South Stand. This is your match reaction to Tottenham Hotspur versus Brighton. And somebody call the police because we need to report a robbery at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. What a game from start to finish. Delays, arguments, VAR decisions. We had the whole lot today. One thing that didn't change was Tottenham's performance. Here to discuss the lot with us, we have Mr. Tiago from TB Ask THFC. Did I say that right? TBA.
It's the Basques. It's because T is
The
my
Basque.
name,
Yes,
Basques
yes.
is my surname.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we've got Tiago. Welcome, Tiago. And also, we've got none other than Mr. Gareth Mack.
Sounding boys.
Yeah, all good, Gareth. Another day in the life of Tottenham Hotspur. Another day in the life of Tottenham Hotspur. Listen, boys, we have got quite a lot to get through today. Although from the outset, it might look like a standard 2-1 win. Not so. We've got a lot to get through. Just want to say welcome to everyone who's watching the show. Welcome to A View from the South Stand. Please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Yeah, make sure you do that for sure. Welcome to Scott M as well in the chat. We will surely get everyone's comments on screen in due course. Right. Okay. 2-1. A couple of records broken. VAR decisions, arguments between managers and standing managers. We had the whole lot today. Tiago, I'm going to start with you. What did you make of the game today? I know you managed to watch most of it on your phone. And by the way, just for the chat, Tiago is in Brazil, so he is watching from Brazil. What did you make of it, Tiago?
Well, the game was. I think we actually started well. I'm not gonna say we were amazing or that we were back to our best, but I think we started well the game. Started with some intensity. We had a few chances. We scored quite early with Son, a beautiful goal as well. But after that, you just could see Brighton were gaining momentum. They were gaining possession, passing the ball around, doing what they usually do. What their Zebby said was they were going to do. That the best way to stop Harry Kane is to not let him have the ball. Momentum was growing for them. They were getting chances. They were getting closer to our goal. We were having a few escapes on counterattacks, but it's just same old Tottenham. Starting to get scared and just booting the ball forward. The midfield for me today was atrocious. Both of them, Højbjerg more than Skip, but for me, both just booting the ball forward. They can't control. They can't create. Eric Dyer. I'm sure you guys are going to talk more about the goal that was disallowed for Mitoma, but Eric Dyer just tried to make a Toby Alderweireld-esque pass, and he just gives the ball away like standard Dyer. Just the same old things. And again, as I said in the beginning, Brighton were robbed. It was a penalty all day long. I'm not going to be a hypocrite to say it wasn't just because it would have been against us, but it was a penalty. For me, it was not a handball by Mitoma. But yeah, it's same old Tottenham. It's a win that papers over the cracks of the same lack of effort type of performance from Tottenham. And today we were lucky. We scored twice. They scored only once. Could have scored 3, but yeah, certainly don't know if it was the most deserved result for us today.
Yeah, I mean, look, you mentioned the word robbery in there. We mentioned it earlier on in the screen. It pretty much was. It almost felt like a smash and grab. That's what it felt like. Very fortunate to get the win today. I think Brighton played the better football, if I'm being honest with you, Tiago. And I have to agree with everything you just said as well. Gareth, mate, welcome. Was you at the game today? I believe.
No, mate. No, I was watching it on my phone. I was having a family day with it being a bank holiday weekend.
Probably
So
why we ended up winning today.
I've witnessed more wins than I have losses, but I'm not going to lie. I was watching that, and you know what? I don't agree with anything either of you said. I think it was fantastic, vintage Tottenham, classic game. You know, fluid passing. It was amazing to see. Just shame it wasn't Tottenham doing it. Just the same, it wasn't Tottenham, mate. It was Brighton doing all the good work. It was a robbery. You can't sit there in any way, shape, or form and say anything different. The Brighton fans are well within their rights to be going home very, very upset tonight. You know, I'm just glad that we got the 3 points. It should have finished 3-2. There's no way in hell that we can sit there and say otherwise. Anybody who does is deluded. Yes, we'll take the 3 points. Yes, we're happy to take the 3 points. But Brighton have every reason to be aggrieved, and I feel bitterly sorry from considering the season they're having, especially under their manager. You know, they're contesting for Europe, half a chance. You know, a sniff. They've got a sniff of Champions League, and effectively they've been robbed of getting that step closer to achieving that dream with what's happened. So we got lucky. Sun shines on the dog's arse some days, and today it was our turn.
Yeah, some would say it's about time, really. We have had plenty of VAR decisions go against us all season. I think today we definitely rolled our luck, Gareth. Definitely rolled our luck today. Let's just hope we haven't used all that luck for the next games. Hopefully that's not the case. Just want to say a very good evening to Mr. Harry Scarf, who joins us on the show. Harry, welcome to the show. Was you at the game today, or did you watch it at home? Where did you watch it?
No, I didn't go to the game today because I'm on holiday, so I watched it at home.
It's all right for some, isn't it?
Yeah.
Some of us have families and responsibilities, but 15. Don't go on. I'm just on holiday, half term. It's all good.
Yeah, not a problem. I love it. I agree with what you said. I think in terms of it was a robbery there today. Brighton were clearly the better team. But I think we deserved that luck. For example, Southampton, I think we were extremely unlucky with that penalty decision and not winning that game. So I think we needed that and deserved that. But I don't know how we managed it.
Can I just say a big thank you to Haz and Marlon for having somebody on the show who isn't so jaded by Tottenham. The young, fresh-faced Harry hasn't quite gone through it and sat there going, "Fucking hell, that was terrible. What the fuck?" It's same old Tottenham. And I love it. I love the positivity. I used to be like you, Harry.
It's difficult, man. You're not always like that.
Give it a couple of years. Just screenshot Harry now and then just compare it to the next 2 years.
This is your future.
What people don't know is Gareth is actually 20 years old but looks 40. So
that's it. Yeah, rough paper round and supporting Spurs.
Plenty of talking points. Look, I'm going to start from the very beginning because it's only fair that we mention what happened before the game. There was a delay to the kickoff, as always seems to be the case with Tottenham these days. Pretty heated. It looked like there was a heated exchange between De Zerbi and Stellini before the game kicked off. De Zerbi pointing fingers and getting in his face, assuming they were speaking in Italian to each other. One would assume that either it was what Stellini said in his interview, in his press conference beforehand, where he mentioned the fact that, the team was that of Potter's rather than, De Zerbi taking all the credit. Or it might have been something, that's bubbling underneath from before where they might have some history. But, Gareth, what do you make of that?
I'll be honest. I pay no attention to it. I don't care. It's. I know it sounds really simple, but I don't. Bottom line is I want to see what they're doing on the pitch. I don't give a toss what they're doing on the sidelines. Obviously we do to the degree of making substitutions and getting sort of trying to affect the game. But if they want to have their little handbags at dawn, let them have their handbags at dawn. As long as it doesn't affect what's happening on the pitch, as long as it doesn't affect the team giving their all and doing the best that they can do, given the circumstances and whatever else excuse you want to give the team at the moment. Fuck them. They're going to bitch. They're going to win. We had it with Tuchel and Conte at the beginning of the season. We've now had it between Stellini and the Brighton manager. And no doubt it will happen at some other point with another team, another manager somewhere down the line. it is what it is. Let them have their handbag. Let the FA deal with it. I'm focusing on the 11 guys on the pitch who are trying to put in a performance and try and bring the points home. So that's my opinion. Give a fuck.
Well said. Look, Tiago, I'll come to you with this one. What did you think about the team selection, first of all? Did you expect any changes? Because the team was kept the same from last week. I know people were saying we haven't got many options, but Richarlison was back on the bench today. Then Juma was on the bench, of course. But the team was kept the same. Was you surprised by that? Or did you expect the same team out there again? And also, were you surprised the fact that, Brighton were the better side in the first half? We didn't show any sort of improvement from last week where we drew against Everton 1-1.
If I'm going to be completely honest with you, what surprised me was that Danjuma actually got some minutes in this game, because I thought that guy was not going to play until he left, because the treatment he was getting, I just couldn't understand, especially with Son and how I know he scored a goal today, but before today he was awful. Kulusevski seems a little bit off as well, but in terms of the team selection, no. For me, that was going to be the team in my head since last game, actually, because we don't have many options. Wing backs we can't really change. We only have Porro and Perisic. Midfield, he's not going to play Papessar. Defense, I don't really think he would play Davinson Sanchez after what happened at Everton. That Davinson Sanchez comes on and 2 minutes later we concede. But no, I wasn't surprised with the team selection. I wasn't surprised that Brighton were going to be the better team. I think football has a lot to do with confidence, and they were confident that they could come in and get a result against us. That they could come in and play the football they usually play every game against us. And even with Graham Potter, we would see that against every team. They're just brave enough to go out there and do what they plan to do. Get the ball, create chances, stretch the opposition as much as they can, just make the opposition lost because they don't know how to stop Brighton. So, no, nothing surprised me. What surprised me actually as well was a little bit of the positioning, especially when defending, because Kulusevski dropped a little bit more to midfield, and Son and Kane were together up top. That surprised me because I felt like it was a little bit more effective than the 5-4-1 that we usually do. Especially because Brighton had a really good midfield. Caicedo
Which is what I was going to say. Was it, in your opinion, was it stifle their midfield? Because they have got a very good midfield and they win the ball back really well. I mean, even today, watching this game, they were pressing, they were winning the ball back at every opportunity. They do that so well with their crisp passing. Kulusevski, I mean, it's a good point you made. He was pushed more in field. You reckon it was because of that reason, to stifle the midfield a bit?
Yeah, sorry about that. It's because my mom was singing here in the background. I had to tell her it was on a live stream. Otherwise, you would listen to her singing to Flowers by Miley Cyrus, and she's not the best singer in the world, but
you're just saying that. We probably love it. Go on, get to do with us.
Nah, for our safety, it's better not. But, just to speak a little bit more about Brighton's midfield, Caicedo, I love him. He plays for Ecuador, and I watched quite a few games from them, especially in the South American qualifiers. And in the World Cup, he was just bossing the midfield for them. Ecuador played good football. They play possession-based football as well. And he just bosses it. He acts like he's a veteran for them. And to be honest, I can't really put my finger on why they changed for this game to put Kulusevski. But I think it's something that worked, and now they could keep going with Kulusevski midfield when defending, because I don't know, I just don't feel like Son has it. Son, he can press, but in defense he just doesn't do much. And it's really easy to go past him. And if we get compacts in the middle, which is where most teams will try to hurt us, because if we keep only Skip and Højbjerg, it's really easy to find space. Then, yeah, I'm all for Kulusevski staying in midfield. But going forward, he needs to improve.
It's
I think. Sorry, I was just going to say with as regards to team selection, I think maybe what Stellini's trying is consistency is key. There's been a lot of upheaval this season, and I'm not trying to make excuses, but you look at the personal trauma and the team trauma that has happened for Spurs with losing the one of our management team, losing personal friends for Conte. I think Stellini is
Conte himself.
And I think Stellini's looked at it and gone, I need to try and put a bit of consistency, a bit of familiarity, keep some things the same, and that's why today's lineup wasn't a surprise for me. But what Thiago said, the way I think, but what Stellini's tried to do is then be effective with what he's got on the pitch, and maybe that in a way that stifled Kulu a little in his creativity by having him come back in and try and shore up. And add a little bit of extra.
Yeah, and this was going to be my next question for Harry, really. Based on last week's performance and the performance before that as well against Southampton, it would have been quite understandable if one of Son or Kulusevski would have been taken out today and replaced with either, Richarlison was fit, could have been replaced by Richarlison, or even Danjuma himself, who had minutes today. As it stands, obviously, what a decision to keep Son in there, because he ends up scoring 100th goal in the Premier League for Spurs. And what a goal it was. Harry, talk me through that goal, because it was another one for the archives. That was just sublime. Top bins, when the pressure was really on, and he absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, perfect there. Fantastic goal. What a way to score your 100th goal in the Premier League. He's done them all with us. So, that's special. So I'm very happy for him personally. But no, like you say, with Son and Kulusevski, I don't think either of them have done enough this season to, secure their place if they like. But like that comment said, you've got no one to really come in to replace. I would like to see Danjuma from the start, but we saw him come on. And so that was good. Yeah, perfect. The comment says there we have no alternatives on the bench to change the lineup. But Kulusevski, he's not his best he was, for example, last season. But Son, for example, proved today that although his form may dip in and out, he can produce magic like that. And if he does that, let's say every game or every other game, then perhaps it's worth it. So, but we need that in the summer to bring in that quality we can turn to. I think Richarlison, when he's fit, has the right manager, given the opportunity in the right position. Hopefully he'll be a very good option to turn to. And Danjuma is another thing. Wherever we're going to buy him permanently, I can't see it happening at the moment because he hasn't been given lots of minutes. We need that kind of option there. Lucas didn't help with the sending off. He's lost that option as well.
But let's be fair, Harry, he's not really an option at the moment, regardless of the suspension.
Not really, no. We need better, definitely. We need better for a top four club. But no, going back to Son, no, I'm very happy for him personally. And what a way to do it. What a wonder goal. It reminds me of, I think, Leicester last season. I think he done, or this season maybe, done something very, very similar to
that. Look, first half, we were overwhelmed. Despite the Son goal, and that was a wonder strike, let's be honest, we were very, under the cosh at times, overwhelmed by Brighton's tactics, their pressing, their clean football they were playing.
And naive when it came to their goal. Who leaves Lewis Dunk unmarked at the edge of the box to drift in at the back post? Fucking schoolboy. Schoolboy.
This is what I was going to get to, Gareth, which was going to be my next.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. You've done the introduction, so it's all good. I don't need to do it now. But look, Lewis Dunk, tallest player on the pitch. We know his aerial presence. We know that he's going to attack that ball. What on earth were they thinking about? He was left totally unmarked. And Lloris was at 6s and 7s, whether he should come out or stay in goal.
He was behind the line when he actually jumped for it. When I saw the replay, I'm not gonna lie, I was in a public place, and I literally just said what you said, but with a couple of profanities. What the fuck are you doing, leaving him to go back post? And people kind of looked at me, and the missus went, Brighton has scored dead, and I went, yeah, and then told her what happened. But it was a joke. You see him, he stood just by the D, and then he just floats round, and he's like you say, already said, tallest player on the pitch. Brilliant. He's got a good aerial presence. You know, the guy is always a danger in the box. And you leave him back post against a 5 foot and a fag paper fucking goalkeeper who jumps behind the line at the ball like he's waving at a car to stop. It was ridiculous. The guy that I don't get why they left that man without somebody on him. It was a joke. It was schoolboy errors that led to that goal. And don't get me wrong, they were robbed enough. But that was simple defending stuff that we should have dealt with and that we can deal with. And I don't get why we didn't deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, surely that's going to be looked into. Hopefully that will be one of the things that they'll assess behind the scenes with all our upcoming matches. Just want to say, Talha, welcome to the show. And we'll get onto your question further along the line about Stellini's red card. We are going to talk about that. I just want to get through a few points from the game. Absolutely. Shocking defending. Lloris at 6s and 7s again. Undecisive. But Tiago, do you think Lloris should have communicated with his players a bit more, being the captain, being back there, being able to see everything that's going on? Do you think that he needed to be a bit more vocal to say, look, someone get over there to him, he's unmarked? Or do you think, you know what, these defenders are Premier League level, they should know how to mark a player, they should know who's around them, and they should have better awareness? I mean, what do you think?
I've said on multiple streams before that I don't think Hugo Lloris is the best captain. I don't think he's vocal. I don't think he has presence. But for me, I'm not going to put the blame on him for not saying they should keep an eye on Dunk. This is something that should be a game plan before the game started. It's Lewis Dunk. It's obvious. He's 6'4". The first thing you need to do in the training ground when you're going to practice defending against Brighton from set pieces is keep an eye on Lewis Dunk. He's really good in the air. He's really tall. We need someone to keep an eye on him. And something that I really didn't understand afterwards is that in the later corners, it was Oliver Skip marking him. Skip is short. He's not going to stop Lewis Dunk. And Dyer just stands on the line where Harry Kane already is. He does the same thing he did against Southampton. I don't know why this guy loves staying on the goal line so much. But no, I'm not going to put on Lloris this one. If he saw it and he could have said, look, Lewis Dunk is free, someone go mark him, I get it. But the first thing you should do when defending a set piece against Brighton is get someone on Lewis Dunk, because you know he's the biggest threat. So for me, it's as Gareth said, it's a schoolboy error. It's basic. It's football basics, to be honest.
How much of it do you reckon is communication at this point? Because I'm feeling that the players aren't really pulling in the same direction. Sometimes when I'm watching the games, you know, there isn't real communication there. There isn't, you know, I'm a firm believer that on a pitch you should have more than one leader. You should have 2, 3, 4, 5 leaders on that pitch. You know, a leader in the defense, a leader in midfield, a leader up top. Someone to pull the players together and say, look, you get over there. I'm pulling, you know, grab him by the scruff of the shirt and pull him into position. Yeah. We don't see that at Tottenham. And I think that is a very, very big part of some of our problems, is that we haven't got leadership quality, real leadership.
But to be fair, that's apart from that season where we had Toby and Jan prime, you know, Lloris was prime as well. You know, and I know we're going back a few years now. You know, Harry was still crawling, dribbling into his bib. You know, yeah, but sorry, mate. But we we had leaders then. We had Dembele in the middle. We had Toby and Jan at the back. You know, we had Harry up top. You know, we had people who were able to pull people who also they had the respect for their teammates. And I'm wondering if there's something going on behind the scene where there maybe is a lack of respect between teammates. You know, Højbjerg to me is a leader. You know, he might not be the best footballer, but the guy is a leader, right? And he's and he's vocal enough. You know, he G's the boys up. And I would be very surprised if he wasn't the type of player to be like, come on, boys, pick up. Let's, you know, maybe not specifically be get on Dunk, whatever, but they'd be, come on, boys, get your man. And I think we've lost a lot of that, and I think we've lost a lot of our leaders. We haven't replaced the leader type. We haven't replaced the quality either in a lot of areas. And I think there's a very big disconnect through the whole of Tottenham. No, I'm not just going to even say the squad, through the whole of Tottenham. And I think we're now seeing the effects of that. That slow rot.
Look, I just want to say welcome to Friday as well. He's joined us, Swifty and everyone in the chat. Welcome to the show. Friday makes a good point about the referee. Perhaps we could sign him on a permanent because his performance was absolutely sublime this afternoon. I must say he let a lot of those decisions go, and we were pretty lucky today, if I'm being honest with you. So shout out Friday. Yeah, perhaps we should sign the referee. Look, I just want to talk about.
I think quickly on the referee. I think that's why we had delays before the first and the second half with his old VAR stuff and his communications. Yeah. I'll be honest. I think he was checking his old banking app to make sure the money had gone in to make the right choices.
Yeah. Levy was probably sending him the money from China where he is right now. So yeah. But look, we're going to talk about. I'm going to come back to you, Harry. I'll start with you, but we are going to talk about our talisman now. Which is Harry Kane, and just unbelievable. I mean, you can sense all the critics were waiting for him to slip up after that incident at Everton. He was absolutely, slated for what happened at Everton. They were waiting for him to slip up. But now, 23 Premier League goals this season. Okay. 5. Well, it was 5 at the start. Now it's 7 behind Marlon, who scored another 2 today. Might I add, his second goal was absolutely. If you haven't seen it, match of the day, watch it tonight. But he's only 7 behind Marlon, and if you want to put it this way, Kane is right now playing for a far inferior side than Manchester City, without any creative players around him. Okay, and what's more remarkable is that he's been doing it for 9 seasons now, knocking the goals in to the back of the net.
Incredible.
For me, an incredible player. Where would we be without him this season or last season? And where might we end up without him if he were to leave next season?
That's a big question. I'm trying to avoid to answer, but I dread to think right now where we'd be without him, even from this season. The amount we rely on him. I hate to keep saying it, but we really do rely on him. But have you noticed how all the ex-footballers, all the pundits, they're all had it in for Kane after that Everton incident, all gone quiet today, like they don't exist. It's funny that, because if Kane hadn't scored today, they would have been all over it. So yeah, they've been silenced, and that is a good thing. But no, it was a great move all round. Finished off by a fantastic finish by Kane. I mean, he has a lot of space, but still get players who will miss that. So the quality from Kane, not even needing to take a touch. I mean, it's just pure quality.
Yeah, absolutely, absolute quality. Whatever way you look at it, whichever team Harry Kane's played in, whichever players he's had around him, you can't say that he hasn't played to a consistent level.
Still not appreciated, though.
Still not appreciated.
That's the sad thing.
He always seems to be public enemy number one as soon as he does one little mistake or makes a wrong move. But
hurt to be an England captain, though, isn't it? Let's be honest. You're under more scrutiny than most. Look at Beckham when he was England captain. He got the same scrutiny. He got the same bullshit.
Good point.
The red card against Argentina. He was absolutely hung out to dry over that.
Yeah, it's a poison chalice in some ways, isn't it, Gareth? Big welcome to Elias from Spurs. Welcome to the show. How's it going? Where did you watch the game today?
I watched it at home. While on a watch along with Dan. Yeah. And I think we are pretty lucky to have won that game, in my opinion.
Yeah. We're all in agreement. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that's good. Because early on I was at VR Tottenham TV, and I think quite a lot of people don't agree that the ref made some poor decisions. They were some poor decisions. I mean, from a footballing point of view, they were not good decisions. I think
from a Tottenham point of view, though, they were fantastic.
Yeah, from a Tottenham point of view, they were fantastic decisions. You got a victory. You got 3 points, and I think it worked out well. But also, I won't give all the credit to Brighton as well. They played decent. They played well. I was expecting a better game from them. So it could have been a 50-50 sort of game given the situations that we were in. Although they have more shots on target and stuff like that, but the game could have been on our side despite those 2 goals. Even if they would have gone, I think then that we would have put a bit more pressure on them because they didn't look that excellent or that great as well. But overall, it's a pretty dramatic game in my opinion. But I don't know whether did we feel the drama today at that game, or it was just not because it was not that derby. But it looked like one of those derby games like against Chelsea or Arsenal where
I
you can
think,
feel the drama.
Elias, I think the fact that there's a lot riding on it for both teams. Brighton's
Yeah.
trying to get into Europe at the moment. They're very, very close in terms of where they are in the league with us. Couple of wins, and that puts them into a great position to get Europa League, at a push Champions League. But for European football at Brighton, it's a big thing at the moment. So
Yeah.
tensions are always going to be high during a game where there's a lot at stake. We needed that win to keep up with Newcastle and Manchester United, who have both won today. Because anything other than a win today, I think would have dropped out, and that would have been it.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think when do you have quite a lot on stake, and I think it shows the ambition that now Brighton has in order to stay in the go it towards Europe. And I think it would have been after quite a long period. I don't know when was Brighton last time in Europe. Anybody has any idea, by the way? Was it
Ages.
Europa League or ages? I think probably. So it is that opportunity that they are seeing. So I guess that was on the line, and I think I don't know, but to me, to a certain extent, it looked like De Zerbi and Stellini had something a bit personal. Like even since the first minute, since the kickoff, they looked a little bit like heated. I don't know if anybody else noticed it. They looked like they have some form of a rivalry that has been there since the Italian times. I don't know, like.
Stellini didn't shag his wife or something over in Italy, that some kind of melodrama like that.
Yeah, it's no matter what way you look at it, you've got two fiery. Well, I say fiery. I don't see Stellini as being fiery, but you've got two Italians, having a conversation. Sometimes a friendly conversation can look a bit frosty, I suppose.
Well, to be fair, you look at the Italian language in general, and if you look at people talking with each other, and they'll be like, yeah, and whatever the fuck, and it looks, it's like when you talk to a Scouser, it sounds more aggressive than what it actually is.
Yeah, I mean, look, I want to get on to Talia asked us to discuss this earlier on with regards to Stellini and De Zerbi's red card. Some would say Stellini's red card was a bit harsh because he was just standing there like
it was a bit harsh,
a lonely figure whilst it was all kicking off behind him. And De Zerbi was the one who was like a rabid dog, just absolutely going hell for leather with our technical staff. But what would you make of that, Thiago? The red card, do you reckon it was justified? I know there was a few comments made in the press conference and interviews afterwards where it was explained why he had the red card. What do you make of it all?
For me, it was funny because I was having lunch with my family. We were on the table. I had my phone on my side, and then just Stellini with his arms crossed, and then World War III behind him, and him doing absolutely nothing, just looking on the pitch. But yeah, I've heard it's a rule that it's kind of the manager's obligation to take care of his dugout and control the coaching staff and everyone on the bench. So by that, it is justified. It's just weird. I didn't know about this rule, but yeah, it was kind of justified because the whole game they were just kicking off all the time. I think there was after Brighton's goal that De Zerbi was doing like this and pointing to our bench, and it was just a whole game really. So yeah, it's justified, but can happen more because I like it. I like the drama. Let's see if Ryan Mason has the same energy as Stellini now.
Gareth, I was just going to come to you for the next one, mate. Do you reckon this was an elaborate ploy by Stellini and Mason to get Mason in charge of the team for the next game? Well, let's start with the theory.
It wouldn't. Do you know what? It's do you know what? As outlandish as it sounds, nothing would fucking surprise me right now. I'll be honest. Yeah, I it wouldn't surprise me at all if this was a justified way of getting Mason to be in charge for a game, to give him a bit more experience and whatever else. But if that had been if that really was the case, then I think Stellini would have been a bit more active in the tear up, which got them both sent off. You know, by letter of the law, it's justified. But to look at it, you know, to physically look at it, it's bollocks. The guy did nothing wrong. Do I think Mason's going to come in and you know, hold the fort? Well, yeah, I do. You look at what he did when Jose left. You know, we only got beat by 1 goal by City in the cup final, and you know, we still managed to hold our own with him at the helm. With, you know, well, he did. He made sure those transfers to the referee went over with no issues. So, but yeah, it's not going to do us any harm. Let's be honest. We're sat 5th with 3 points behind, and the other two, Man U and Newcastle, got a game in hand. I would say we're probably going to be 5th or 6th now with the way things are going to go. So, yeah, fuck it. Mason's in charge for a game. Let's just see how it all flips and flops.
Luckily, it's a Bournemouth game.
Yeah, Elliot, you know, we are going to talk about some individual performances from the game today, because there were some truly terrible performances by a couple of players. Well, more than a couple of our players in the team today. So, Elias, how do you see it going at the moment? Because we currently sit, I believe it's 5th in the table.
Yep.
Brighton's below us.
We're 5th, 3 points off.
Yeah, we're 3 points off. Brighton still have 2 games in hand over us, and United have a game in hand over us. I mean, we've got some very big games coming up. Very big games coming up. We've got Bournemouth next. I believe that one's away.
No, Bournemouth at home, mate. We've already done. I was at Bournemouth away, where I got the shirt signed for my boy. Remember?
Oh, yeah, we won 3-2 away, didn't we? Yes.
No, it was 2-2. Oh no, it's 3. Yeah, Benny.
3-2,
yeah, Benny got the winner.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we've got Bournemouth coming up. How do you see that going? Do you reckon we'll keep pace with the other two, Newcastle and United? Ultimately, we have to play both of those teams still. And you know, a lot of people are saying, you know, Tottenham got to play United. They've got to
well, Talas just said that before you've mentioned it.
What I would say is they've still got to play us. You know, no matter how bad we are, you know, they've still got to play us if they want that spot. So, Elias, what do you think?
Sorry, in my opinion, because I was digesting something. Sorry. In my opinion, I think top 4 is possible.
Elias is still trying to digest the win, by the way. It's fine, Elias. We haven't seen one in a while. I get it.
I'm just having my supper.
To be fair, I did hear the rattle of his plate. He was just putting something onto his spoon or fork, and you go, "Oh, by the way, mate, what do you think?" And he's kind of, I can see the way he's looking. She's like, "Really?"
Well, what can I say? My timing's on point, isn't it?
Yeah. In my opinion, I think top 4 is still possible, given that let's just say a couple of injuries happen in Man United, or let's just say Newcastle start dropping points, 1 point, 1 game, 2 game. It's still a matter of games. But I think definitely those games that we are playing against those teams, it will be crucial. So against Newcastle, I would say best to make sure that we don't drop points, and if possible, go against United as well. Try to keep it a draw. Like, don't give them too many points. Keep it within the reach. Liverpool game, I think we can pull the win. I think there. Newcastle is possible too. I mean, like looking at the game today, I think I'm kind of like a little bit positive that we can somehow still pull the games in the pressure situations. Like, our team has a tendency to somehow perform better when we are under pressure. They are doing
according
that.
To Conte.
And, sorry?
Not according to Conte. Anytime there's pressure, we all buckle.
No. What he meant is a different sort of pressure. I think this pressure is more of like Like when
You
we are
know,
not expected to win, when we are not expected to win that sort of situation. Like when we are
Elas, you know
underdog.
what? The only positive I've got for Newcastle, Man United, and Liverpool is that one of the best games I've seen this season, Stellini was in charge, and it was when we played City at home. Right, for me, that is where I'm going to try and take my positives for those 3 games.
But he won't be in charge, I think, for one of them at least. 1 or 2 of them
So
he won't be in
Bournemouth,
charge.
he's not going to be in charge.
Yeah.
I think it's 2 games, if I'm not mistaken.
But
It's only
if
one,
it's
isn't it? For
I thought it was
managers.
one. It's one.
no, it's
Yeah,
I think
one.
it's
But
one.
let's say
Yeah.
it depends on the decision. For example, like
At the moment, it's one.
for example, I think when in the Chelsea game, Conte was given that red card. His red card was just like he had to pay a certain fine. He wasn't.
Yeah, he
banned
was.
from
Yeah,
the
but
game.
they suspended the touchline ban, didn't they, for Conte?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But whereas
in my opinion, it's possible that Stellini's ban might get off as well, because I think his ban was more of because of the rules states that if the manager fails to control his bench, then they have to get a red card. But I think it won't affect him badly as a manager, so he may be at the Bournemouth game as well. Like Conte was, I think after Chelsea game, he was still at the next game as well. It was
Yeah.
Tuchel who had to miss a game, so I think in the same case as well, De Zerbi might have to sit out for certain games because of his behavior. But I think Stellini
Well, and it's also his second red card this season, so they might give him a couple of games just for it happening again.
Yeah, but I don't think Stellini being there is a positive for me. Overall, I just feel that that is possible. I mean, looking at other teams, like I feel that Premier League this season has been like a bit of a roller coaster ride. Certain teams they somehow perform and then somehow they fall down. So if you can rely on that roller coaster sort of form that is going on with all the other teams as well, like United, you can look at them as well. They have not been that consistent. Newcastle haven't shown that much consistency as well, in my opinion. So I think it's possible. I would have been more worried if we were competing against the likes of someone like City or Arsenal. I think the consistency is only with the two.
Oh,
with
City's a
those
piece of cake, Elias. It's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
we're
no,
we're a
I think
bogey we're a bogey team for them. I have more confidence playing them than I do playing Leicester some seasons. So
yeah. But I mean, overall, it's doable. Let's see where the boys turn up. Like there are certain things that I feel like if we even have like Ryan Sessegnon, I think he's coming back from injury. Apparently, his rehab is doing well. So if he comes back, no, I tell you my reason for that. I think Perisic is not a good defender. If Sessegnon comes
True.
back, you might see some better results in terms of defense on the left hand side, because left hand side we are exposed.
I'd rather have Danny Rose as he is right now. I'd rather have Danny Rose than Sessegnon back.
Would he come?
Yeah. Get Danny to dust off his boots, mate, and he can come back as left wing back.
Elias, I'm gonna say it, yeah. I totally understand. I understand why you would want Sessegnon to come back, because you're thinking, obviously, defensively, Perisic, he isn't good defensively. We know that. And you're saying you just want a bit of defensive solidity in that left back position or left wing back position. I just don't think Sessegnon's that guy. I mean, look, I'll put it to the chat. What do you think? Sessegnon back if he's fit, or
Danny Rose,
Perisic there, or do we find Danny Rose again?
T-Lady
yeah,
can play at the left.
Sorry,
the T-Lady can play at the left wing.
Oh, there you go. She might do a better job.
there you go. Scott M said Elias over rather than he'd rather have Elias.
Scott M,
on,
you
Elias.
don't talk so much. We know you're Scottman. We know.
Harry.
I just wanted to say a quick thing about the guys talking about the games. I'm looking at the table now. Liverpool are 10 points behind, but they're still going to play tomorrow, and after they play tomorrow, they will have a game in hand on us.
We need them to win tomorrow.
If they win tomorrow against Arsenal and then they win the game in hand, they're going to be 4 points behind us with the same amount of points. Apart from like Chelsea, Fulham, who have like 39 points, so they're not in a relegation fight, but they're not fighting for Europe as well. Every other game, every team is fighting for something, because from Wolves, who are 12th place, to Nottingham Forest, which is in 18th, inside the relegation zone. They're only 4 points ahead. So all of these teams from Wolves down, Wolves, West Ham, Palace, Bournemouth, Leeds, Everton, Nottingham Forest, Leicester, and Southampton, all of them are fighting against relegation. And Newcastle is going to play lots of those teams. They still have to play Arsenal as well. United,
Yeah.
I think they have quite a few tough matches as well. I think they have. Wait, the games are gone. Oh no, they still have Villa, they still have Brighton, they still have Wolves, they still have Fulham, they still have the Europa League, the FA Cup. So it is possible. I'm not getting hopeful. I don't think we're gonna get top 4, but it's something that needs to stay in our minds. It's possible. We're 5th place. There are a few games to go. All of other teams have tough games as well. But yeah, it's about effort. We need to put in the effort.
I mean, Thiago, this stage of the season, no game is easy. You know, I know City's sort of making everything look a bit easy at the moment, as is Arsenal. But you know, everyone's sort of fighting for something, whether it's Premiership survival or whether it's for a European spot or whether it's, you know, whatever it is, everyone's fighting for something. So it's not easy. But look, Harry, how do we navigate through these next few games? Because look, we've got Bournemouth next game at home, and you know, most would say Bournemouth at home, you know, we've got to show a bit more intent and try and get that one over the line to really push us on. Do you see us getting a win against Bournemouth, and how do you see the rest of the games going at the moment with our fixtures?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, on paper, Bournemouth at home next weekend is probably the easiest one until the end of the season. Like you said, you know, we've got to go to James's Park, we've got to go to Anfield, Man United at home. You know, I think it's something like Leeds away last game of the season where they could still be fighting. I think a go to goal difference for in terms of survival. You know, relegation battle, I think go right down to the wire final day. So Leeds could be fighting for every single point. There's no easy games in there, but if you're gonna pick the easiest, it is Bournemouth at home, but we must play better. We can't, you know, leave them, for example, because small teams down the bottom, they rely on things like set pieces. So we can't do what we've done against Brighton today and give them that freedom. So I'd hope we can win that game. You know, we've got to win the game because, as I said, you know, we've got James's Park and Anfield. I mean, then you've got Man United at home. People go, oh yeah, but you want to finish like above Man United, above Newcastle, above Liverpool. So you've got an opportunity to play them, but we're away from home for 2 of them. I mean, Newcastle, I mean, they're on it right now. I mean, going to Anfield, despite how bad Liverpool have been, I think Arsenal will really struggle tomorrow. And I think we need Liverpool to get that result. So going there will be tough. So we need the result. But I think top 4, although we're in it, I think realistically it's never going to happen. It's trying to get, you know, Europa League for me. I think
based on something you've just said, Harry. Yeah, you said, you know, we need Liverpool to get the result against Arsenal. Yeah. So we're far enough in the season now for me to sit there and go, do you know what? They're going to finish 1st or 2nd. I don't even give a fuck. Right, I've wiped it from my memory. Yes, I want to see him get beat. I don't want them to win it. But that being said, Spurs playing the way they are right now, Spurs struggling to get points, needing help from VAR, needing help from referees. Right? Am I going to sit there and go, is it better for Liverpool to lose for Tottenham, or is it better for Arsenal to lose for me as a fan? You know, so Arsenal get a chance of not winning the league because I can't have those pricks lording it over us for all of next year. And do you know what? They've been wearing a neck brace for the last 6-7 years, looking up at us. Let them enjoy a freedom of free movement, and they've happened to win a title. I'd rather Liverpool got pumped so that it keeps that points gap, because we are going to struggle. We are going to find it. Right? I'll be honest. If we finish 4th, it will be a miracle, in my opinion, right now. 5th or 6th. I think based on where we are right now, I think is realistic. But at the same time, I want to make sure teams like Liverpool, Chelsea, Fulham, you know, Brighton, that they get done by. I don't care if it's Arsenal, City, Man United, or Newcastle. Right?
Don't worry about Fulham.
But to keep them, but to keep them as far away from us as possible, to give ourselves a breathing space. And I don't know if anybody else agrees, but has anybody else kind of stopped looking up there and are now just focusing around us?
Look, it's an interesting point you make. Gareth, but I'm going to put it out to the chat and everyone else who's watching. What's more important? Keeping these teams below us, is that more important, or keeping Arsenal away from that title and preventing them from winning the league? I mean, let us know in the chat what's more important. You know, they could still end up not winning anything this season. You know, the league title, anything they can go for.
That'd be funny.
And to be fair to most Arsenal fans, I'm not going to talk much about Arsenal. It's a Tottenham show, but to be fair to most of them, they've kept themselves grounded because it's not a foregone conclusion. You know, City,
we can still finish fourth and they can still get fuck all, which is great.
Absolutely,
but at the same time, they're up there, and my focus isn't there. It's now what's around us. Yeah,
absolutely.
Good way to look at it.
And the problem is that we have lots of like direct games because we play Liverpool, we play Newcastle, we play Man United. We have to look at Aston Villa now. They're 6th place. We play against them away. We're gonna go to Villa Park to play against them.
Well, Newcastle's got them next week, Thiago. Newcastle play Aston Villa away next week.
Wow.
And we have Bournemouth at home. Now, that is, for me, an excellent opportunity,
it's a perfect opportunity
to win our home game and hope that Aston Villa can do us a favour. Well, do themselves a favour. But
they're improving, aren't they? Every week.
They've improved tenfold. Okay. So that is the perfect opportunity for us next week to get that win under our belt at home against Bournemouth.
You think so?
Not with a performance like today's, again, because we can't carry on riding that horse, that lucky horse every week. We can't. Just quickly, Tala, I've left your comment up there because you've missed out the word Levy from that. So if you correct it, I'll put it up on the screen, mate. But thank you. Look, that's a very important game for us next week. You know, that Bournemouth game, a lot of people might look at it and think, it's important. It's another one of our 10 finals that we've got to win. Going further past that, United, actually, next week, they have Nottingham Forest. I mean, it's going to be light work for them, let's be honest. Forest are awful. So you'd like to think the team that will be competing for that 4th spot with will more than likely be Newcastle. Because I can see United going on a little run after next week or after today. And then the week after that, obviously, we've got Newcastle away. For me,
look,
get a result at Newcastle.
Game.
If we
the problem for United, sorry to cut you off. Just that I think the problem for Man United is that they have Sevilla midweek, and I really don't think they want to throw away everything. So
Rashford's taken an injury as well, hasn't he? So he's one of their top scorer now is out.
Casemiro is still out as well.
Casemiro will be back for the last few games before the end of the season. So
he's
going to come back like a fresh player. If they need results in the last 3-4 games, he'll be back like a new player.
He's been big for them this season. He's been a big player.
There's no one else like Casemiro in that team for them. People will say Fred. No, Fred couldn't even lace up his boots. Let's be honest. Casemiro is the one player that they absolutely need in that team. But
he's the best defensive midfielder in the world, like by a mile. For years, he's been Real Madrid. What he's done at Real Madrid was awesome. Man United, he comes in and he fixes everything. I'm not saying this just because he's Brazilian, but it's because he really is that kind of player.
But it helps that he is.
Squad. It helps. It does. It does.
Yeah. Look, performances today. I just want to get on to performances today because there was a few that stuck out for me. And a few that were quite terrible, to be honest with you. Now, the one name that I'm going to go back to again, you guessed it, is that man Dyer by name, Dyer by nature. For me,
do we need to elaborate any more?
I mean, listen, we can only go by today's game for today. We can talk about his previous games, but we've done that. Today, for me, he was terrible today. I mean, Gareth, talk me through. Look, try and be a little bit, go easy a bit, but just tell me about his performance today. For me, he didn't cover himself in glory at all.
I don't think his head was in it. I really don't. We know Dyer can do better, but if I could turn back the clock, I would have sold him to Stoke and kept Wimmer.
Wow.
Thank you.
Right. I know you might. You know what? I just. Eric Dyer has been a defensive midfielder. He's played out on the right and he's played in defence. And for me, Dyer is okay in defence as long as he's got good defenders next to him. So when he played alongside Toby, a good defensive brain. Same with Vertonghen, good defensive brain, good positioning, vocal, leader. He was fine because he did as he was told. And because he was doing as he was told, 9 times out of 10, Vertonghen or Alderweireld had it right, and it made him look good. And if he fucked up, they were there to cover his ass. Right now, he's there as the main guy for our defence. He's showing the lack of quality that's needed for a squad that's supposed to be going for Champions League football season in, season out. Excuse me. So for me, he's he needs to go, and I'd have if I could go back, I would. I've kept Wimmer. I reckon Wimmer would have progressed a lot better. I think he would have taken a lot more because you cannot play with two of the best central defensive defenders to ever grace Tottenham's football pitches, let alone the Premier League. Because you look at that season where we held the best defensive record and not learn fuck all about how to defend. Right, my son is 9 years old, and he could watch everything about Toby and Vertonghen that whole season with me pointing out whatever, and I guarantee he would play better than Dyer would in his next under-9s game. You can't not have learned something and not have learned how to be a leader, not how to pick up your men, to spot danger. Perfect example for spotting danger. We played United last season, right, where we lost 3-2, right? Ronaldo scored a hat-trick. Remember his first goal, right? It was a hoofing shot from outside the box, right? Dyer, toddles up to him with his hands behind his back. You know what Ronaldo can do. If that was Vertonghen, if that was Alderweireld, they'd have been tighter to him before he got the ball. Or they would have had somebody tighter to him before he got the ball because they would have seen it. Dyer knows he hasn't picked up fuck all. I honestly feel like he's a type of person who could read a book. 5 minutes later, you ask him about it, and he couldn't tell you fuck all. Right? That's my opinion. And I can't. And it's hard to say anything positive or put it in a nice way. No, the guy's got to go. We've got to get rid of him. He goes at the end of the season, and people go on about Longley. For 18 million, would we take him? My opinion is fuck yes, as long as we got rid of Dyer, because Longley to me is a better backup than Dyer will ever be.
Look, just going by, there's a debate in the chat at the moment with regards to. Who do we play instead of Eric Dyer? Because we've got no options. Look, I do get it. We've got no options on the bench. Let's be honest. Davinson Sanchez is arguably worse than Eric Dyer, in my opinion. Comes on, makes a mistake straight away last week.
Yeah, but what I don't get, sorry, Haz, but what I don't get is why not go to a back four then? Why not try something different?
I want to address this question now.
Harry,
I want to address this question.
I'll come to you in a second, Elias. Just keep that in your mind. What you're saying was addressed.
Have another mouthful, mate. You got time.
The management, the board come out and said that the reason why they kept Stellini on was so that they don't deviate from the current tactics and formation that they're employing, right? Otherwise, I'm not saying it's right, but they,
I know, but it's just not working. You need to change it.
Exactly. I agree with you wholeheartedly, but if that's what the management and the owners are saying, then it's not going to happen. We're not going to go to a back four. We're not going to deviate from that simply because we've kept Stellini on so that we can continue in that formation. I don't think it's right. I think there should have been a change of direction because we're riding our luck at the moment. We're really riding our luck with this formation. It's not working. These players, most of them are useless. Let's be honest. But look, Elliot, sorry, I'll go back to you. What was the point that you wanted to make?
No, yeah, I wanted to actually go back to the four at the back question that has been raised around this narrative quite a bit. Keep this comment on for a while.
Yeah.
The four at the back. The problem currently with four at the back is that you don't have a proper fullback in your team. Actually, you don't even have one fullback fit right now who is a fullback. Porro is a wingback, or he can either play as a wingback or either he can play as a winger. Perisic is a winger who has been converted as a wingback. That's why he's defensively awful. And then you don't even have two strong centre backs. Like who do you have? Maybe Romero, and then you need a fast centre back and back to Langley is not that fast as well. He struggles with his with his speed as well. So you don't have the choice even as a back four. You don't have a good tactic there as well.
Right.
Exactly like what Scott M has been saying.
Scott M is absolutely right about
Yeah.
that.
Scott
because-
Munn.
yeah.
And the other
It's
one
time to
is
change that. Try
The-
him in a back four. Change that. Make him work in a back four as a manager. Your job should be trying to get a player who can't do something.
it's a
to
risk.
there.
It's a high risk, Harry. It's a high
I don't
risk.
think
If you,
so.
it's a high risk.
It's
in
a high
my
risk.
You know
player.
what? Bring back dependable fucking Davies. He'll sit there on the back on the left side of a back four.
And
Happy
he do a
day.
great job.
He might,
He's
he
very-
might,
he's very
but we all
reliable.
know Ben Davies has not been that great as well in the back four.
But he can play he can
before.
play left back as well. We need him.
He has played left back on certain occasions. But the other
A lot.
thing I wanted to point out was the mid three as well. If you play if back four, you have to play mid three as well. Do we have good three midfielders who can actually play that system? No, we don't have any good
I think
three.
so.
Not that are currently fit anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, not
that
currently
fair.
fit anyways. So that's the best that Stellini can do right now is 3-4-3 in my opinion. Not even 3-5-2.
Look, Perchy, I just want to say, first of all, thanks for tuning in and joining in with the debate. But I can safely say for every one of us here, we don't enjoy what we're watching as well at the moment
Yes.
with the team. We don't. And we don't endorse the formation at the moment and the football that is being played. However, a lot of these players, we all know some of these players need to be moved on. Some of these players aren't good enough. So, you know, switching to a back four, yes, it might ultimately give us more attacking football, more intent, but eventually it will leave us open. And that's my genuine held belief.
We're open anyway without that
Yeah,
extra
exactly.
midfielder. I think with an extra midfielder, we're not as open.
We're more open than John Terry's mum with a pound in her pocket.
Well, exactly. No, we are. We're really
Gareth
open.
Mack
So
always says it as it is.
it's not working.
That's it. If I can get a laugh out of it at the same time, even better.
Look, I'm going to put it to.
You're spot on though. You're absolutely
put it
spot
to
on.
the chat.
We're open. That we play with 5 defenders, and we still the way the opposition walk through us, we play like there's nobody there. Like,
Oh,
huge gap.
Haas, just sorry to interrupt, but just to let you know that Perchy is up for a mass debate.
Ooh, play on words there. Play on words. I like it.
Oh yeah.
Love it.
Look, we all want something to change at Spurs. I think we've come to such a point in the season at the moment. There's a lot riding on. We all know the ownership want top four. There's a lot. It's so many risks and variables at the moment if you make any changes.
Haas, can I just interrupt you for a very quick second to a comment that Scott M's made? Why is it so hard to put the blame where it belongs? Because we all have different opinions. In my opinion, the blame is from top to bottom. Okay, it's the team, it's the management, it's the backroom structure, it's the management, it's the ownership. Everybody else has different opinions. Some people it's just Levy, some people it's a team, some people it's a manager. For me, it's across the board. This is why there is never going to be a across the board definitive, everybody agreeing with something specific being the problem.
Yeah, everyone believes something different, but you know that's democracy for you, isn't it? We listen to everyone, and everyone's views and opinions is valid. But look, if you ask me, we just don't have the defenders to play in a back four where they'll be comfortable enough to do their jobs. You know what I mean? I mean, beginning of the season, we wanted some sort of world-class defender or someone close to that bracket at least. That wasn't given to him by Levy. Okay, we ended up with Longley. Okay, cheaper option on a loan with a view to buy. But ultimately, like Gareth was saying, you know, it does start from the top. It does. And we've been left with a team now where we can only sort of play one sort of system. You know, I don't know what the chat thinks. You know, can we play a 2 at the back with Romero and Longley? I'm not so sure we can. You know, we haven't even to do that. We need decent left backs. You know, Porro, for all his attacking intent, I don't think he's as good defensively, and neither is Perisic as well. You know, we'd be exposed so badly. You know, in a back two with those wing backs, we'd have to play as left back and right back. You know, I don't know what the option is. You know, do you put three in the midfield, 4-3-3, 4-4? How do you do it? You know, we've got the only options at the moment. We've got Sa, we've got Højbjerg, and we've got Skip. Okay, three of them are
I can play that.
if you ask me.
Nah.
I want to see Dyer in defensive midfield.
cracks me up. Oh, do you know what? Oh, he's brilliant. You're right. People are free to have wrong opinions.
If
Scott,
I'm
Evans
being
put-
honest, I would put Højbjerg and Skip because they're two defensive midfielders. Put them two together.
I bet
Romero-
Skip and Dyer.
Nah,
Oh,
No,
Scott,
then-
crack me up, man.
nah. I would put
Absolutely crack me up.
Højbjerg and Skip together. Kulusevski as an attacking midfielder behind Kane, Son on the left, and John on the right, Kane up top.
Have you seen that comment, Haz? You're right. People are free to have wrong opinions, but when it's clearly down to leaving the players crying about managers is silly. Oh,
Okay.
Scott, it's funny as fuck. I love it.
Let me put it in a better
Listen,
way.
big up Scott M, right?
I
Scott
do,
M
yeah.
in chat every time, you know. I've got a lot of respect for Scott.
Do you know what I like? He's got the courage of his
Stand
convictions
by.
to stick by what.
He stands
Yeah.
by his words, and I like that about Scott. No matter what anyone says,
Yeah,
Scott, you carry on as you are, mate. You know, your
yeah,
opinion
love it.
is valid on this show as well. You know, not everyone's going to agree with everyone's points. Okay, we can all agree on that. Everyone's got different views and different, you know, ways of looking at things. So, yeah, that's why we're here. You know, we air.
No, I love it, Scott. Do you know what? I love him in the chat. It cracks me up.
Big up to Ranjit as well. I'll go as far and say Emerson Royale is our best defender. Here we go. Okay. Romero is great and everyone loves him for his tackling and reckless tackling at that. Range,
Yeah.
I can agree with you with Romero's reckless tackling. As for Emerson Royale, our best defender,
Oh,
we'll have to talk about that, mate.
Well, considering what's been said about Dyer, it's not hard to put Emerson above him.
well,
Absolutely.
Emerson doesn't go
I mean,
above
that's a
him.
good point, actually. Very good point. I'll put it out to anyone who wants to answer it. Would you put Emerson in place of Dyer?
Yeah,
No.
yeah,
No.
yeah. I would.
A few yeses and a few no's.
No.
Tiago, I'm going to start with you one by one. All right, Tiago, is it a yes or a no from you, and why?
Damn. For Dyer, oh my god. You know, I think my Dyer hatred speaks louder on this one. Yes, just so Dyer gets out of the team.
Boom, we've got one. All right, Range, you've got one so far. Tiago is a yes. Harry, Emerson Royale over Dyer, yes or no?
No, not for me, because it's not his natural position. It means he won't be playing on the right. Dyer, as bad as I think he is, I think there is not necessarily a agenda against him, but a lot of the hate is put towards him. I think he gets good performances in sometimes that aren't recognised, and I like what he does. You know, outside of his football ability, in terms of he's a leader, you know, he works hard. I think it's similar with Højbjerg. You know, sometimes they may not turn up, and people go, "Yeah, but they're there to to win you the game." But part of winning the game also comes under being a leader. Sometimes pointing fingers as well. So no, not for me. I'm not even going to.
Harry, I'm about to change your mind. I'm about to change your mind.
Gareth, look,
And this is why I'm going to change your mind.
you're going to give us an extensive explanation for your choice. So I'm going to come to you last. Just keep that in your mind. All right. Elias,
I'm going to change your mind, Harry.
yes or
No,
no?
I
We'll
won't.
see. We'll see about that.
No, I won't. I won't.
It's a no from Elias as well.
Yes. Yep.
Simple no. Okay.
There are a lot of
Perfect.
reasons that I can give. Tactically speaking, Dyer has certain qualities that does suit that back three system, but defensively he's a liability. I'll be upfront about it, because Dyer's passing accuracy to a certain extent is something that you really need in that back three system. But defensively, as I say, he's a liability, and his long balls is another one that you do need in the back three system to get the wing backs and the midfielders going. He does that.
How have you confirmed he has long balls?
That's a bad joke. Anyways,
Elias, I'm pulling your leg. All right, it's a no from Elias. So it's 2-1 at the moment. Perchy, welcome to the show, mate.
Hello, mate.
I know you just come through, pass through when you want. So
Perchy in for his match debate. How you doing, mate?
All good, mate. How's it going?
Yeah, not bad, mate.
We're currently debating. We've gone off slightly off topic, but we're currently debating whether we'd have Emerson over Eric Dyer at centre back. What would your take be on it? Yes or a no?
No, but then it's like I'm at the point where I'm like, it doesn't matter anymore. We're crap, but Eric Dyer gets played every week. We moan about Eric Dyer every single week, but he gets played every week. So I can't. You can't blame him anymore. And this is the part everyone sits on. It's easy to blame all the time, but we don't ever question anybody else that he gets picked every single week. So it's like, does it matter anymore? He's always going to make mistakes. We know that. We can sit there and criticize him every single week, but managers pick him.
Is it, mate? I think he's got pictures of Levy being sucked off by a midget or something. He must have to keep getting picked the way he does.
Yeah, but Conte picked him. Stellini picked him. Jose picked him. Do you know what I mean? We can go on about it all the time about these players. These players get picked every single week. If he's as bad as we all say he is, and I think he's terrible, how does he still get a chance? How does he get an opportunity every single week?
Because we've got nobody better. Because Levy hasn't funded up the money. Because Levy hasn't funded up the money.
I don't disagree with that, but then we can't then keep going on and going, they're the problem because they get picked every single week. How many mistakes does he have to make for someone like? I don't even think he's the answer, but how many mistakes does Dyer have to make for Sanchez to get a go? Not saying he's the answer, but my point being is how many times is my point? How many more mistakes does he have to make?
Mm-hmm. And this is why I'm it's going to what Harry said.
Right, Gareth, go on.
Yes, I would replace him, but what I would do is I would put Dyer out, Romero at centre back, put in Emerson Royal at right centre back, so that he could then cover Parro. Because let's be honest, defensively he's not getting back the way he should be, and he's having a bit of a mare. So you'd have him to help cover Parro. You'd have Dyer out. You'd have you'd put a bit more on Romero, which would hopefully maybe curtail, without dampening his fire. Give him that little bit more responsibility, taking the lead in the middle. I think he's good enough to do it. I think he just needs to be given the responsibility of it. And I think Royal would do a good job playing right centre back with Longley or Ben Davies out on the left.
Agreed.
I disagree.
But this is the point. This is the narrative.
You're deluded, Alan. You're not seeing that.
I disagree.
But this is it. I just want to sort of go back on a bit about why can't we go into a back four? Why can't we change something? Everyone keeps saying we can't do it. Why can't we? Why can't we give it a go? We play the worst football in the league. And this is the bit that really bothers me. Everyone says to me, you can't do it. Why not? We can't be any worse than how we're playing.
No, we don't play worse football in the league.
Because
by the way. There are others who play worse.
Elias, you're either blinded or you're big. We play the worst football in the league. Southampton, bottom of the league, play better than we do. Everton play better football than we do. Yeah. We play some of the worst football I've ever seen as a Tottenham fan. And I swear down, it is horrendous.
Yeah.
But that's worse football in your opinion. Because if we are playing worse football, why is it that we are 4th or 5th in the league?
Because we've got a world-class striker, mate. We've got a world-class striker that drags us over the line every single game. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I'm surprised Harry Kane doesn't spend more time on the physio table with a bad back, because he does a lot of carrying.
I'm shocked he doesn't have a broken back, by the way.
But football is not a one-man sport; it's an 11-player sport. So even if Harry Kane is performing,
we're a one-man team.
Who's the only player that seems to consistently score goals?
You look at Tottenham, even as far back as Pochettino, right? Even as far back as Pochettino, when Kane wasn't in that squad, we found it very difficult to score goals, because the minute we got into the final third without Harry Kane, we didn't know what the fuck to do. We'd start passing it around the 18-yard box. Nobody would take a shot, and if they did, they'd put it high, wide, or handsome, right? Whereas Harry Kane comes out, saw it today, running in edge of the box. Hoiberg knew exactly where he wanted that ball to go, and we knew Kane Kane, at the very least, was going to get that on target, right? Harry Kane gets us out of more holes, and I hate the fact that I back him up so much now, but it's true. He gets us out of so many fucking holes now, it's unreal. And you look back at so many games, if it wasn't for him, we would still be 1990s, mid-table, three-point lane, fucking getting rolled over by God knows who.
And you're absolutely
main
bang on by
complaint.
that. Harry Kane has dragged us over the line this season. There's a reason why we're there. Listen, you look at the teams around us. We've got better squads than the teams around us. We've got a better squad than Newcastle. Yeah. We have a better squad than Brighton. We have a better squad than Brentford, Fulham. All these lot. We have better players than these teams. Yeah. But how can we seem to play worse football than they do?
Okay, having better players doesn't guarantee that yes, you can play better.
Yes, it does.
Football.
Look at Manchester City; they've got the best players.
Hold on. Having better players, like let's say if you have five defenders or 6 defenders or 7 defenders in your team who cannot play a back 3 system or who cannot play a back 5 system, it doesn't mean that yes, your squad has that capability to play the best football, because in football there's certain form of,
sorry.
Let me finish first.
Okay.
In terms of defense, in terms of football, there's certain form of technicality that applies in certain tactics, in certain formations. If your player, whether they are good, whether they are best players, if they are playing in that system where they are not suited, they cannot give you that best football. If you are playing three cams or 3 defensive midfielders, and you expect them to have some form of a creativity, that's something that you can't expect from 3 defensive midfielders. And we don't have any creative midfielder at the moment. That's a problem with our creative midfield.
Okay, you've said
front
a lot.
Three, I don't think it's a big issue. Yeah.
Sorry, can I just rebuttal a lot what you said? Can we play a 5 at the back? Yes or no?
We can play comparatively at the moment. It's better than 4 at the back.
I think the question is, Perchy. The answer is we can play any formation. We can play 5 at the back, 4 at the back, 3 at the back. We can do anything. It's a matter of whether the players can actually play decent in those positions.
Okay. So, then the question for the panel again. If we played a 4-2-3-1, I don't really give a crap about the formation. Do you think that we can or can't play like that? Play better? Do you think we'd play worse if we played a 4-2-3-1 or whatever? I don't really care about the formation. I'm using it as an example.
No, we wouldn't play worse.
No,
I don't think we would play worse, but I would like to ask, we would play better
what
either.
Kind of 4-2-3-1 would you play with the current set of players?
Huh?
Scott M makes a great point. The football with a back 4 under Jose Nuno was worse. It was worse. Yeah, I agree with that. But back 5, back 3. The quality of what, in my opinion, Perchy, the quality of what we got is what makes it so bad.
But then let's ask the question: whose fault is it that we haven't got an attacking midfielder? Whose fault was it? Because there was James Maddison was linked with us, and we were very much able to, but Conte said no. So whose fault was it? Whose fault did we didn't have a creative midfielder?
Conte didn't say no.
Yes, he did.
That's a rumor. No, Conte never came up front.
You can't have it both ways.
Okay, Conte never came out up front and said that okay, let's not buy James Maddison. This is a media bullshit or the PR bullshit that's going around.
So when the media goes to prove your point, but then the media then to disprove your point, you can't work both ways. There's no smoke without fire. Regardless of
we all know when it comes to Levy, if the asking price is 1 million, 2 million, or fucking 10 million over what he's prepared to pay, he won't go for it. Levy, if they put a price on that he don't agree with, they ain't going to go for it, are they?
Yeah, but
Levy won't pay for it.
I don't think was the problem though. I don't think genuinely for that. Yeah. I can blame Daniel Levy for a lot of things. By the way, there is enough I can, but I genuinely for that one moment, I don't think so because.
I agree.
It made sense that Conte doesn't play with a creative midfielder. Didn't do it Inter Milan. He didn't do it elsewhere.
Yeah.
He did. He had Ericsson at Inter Milan.
But he didn't play Ericsson very often.
Midfielder, my friend.
He
didn't play Ericsson often at all.
He did play Ericsson quite often, actually.
Yeah, he did play Ericsson, but he played Ericsson deeper. Exactly the same system where Ericsson played when he went to Brentford. He played deeper into midfield and created it from deeper.
Ericsson's playing in that deep role at Manchester United.
Because
exactly.
He plays the same role in Manchester United as well because Bruno plays up front. So, but they had Barella and Brozovic as well, who are quite creative in terms of their skills.
They're creative players, but they didn't play as an attempt number 10. They played as a number 8.
the thing is, right, this all comes back to beginning of even from last season, right? Before we finished last season, the thing that everyone was saying was we need a couple of quality defenders and we need a creative player.
Yep.
Everyone was crying out for it. It didn't happen. So I think having those sort of players, quality defenders, creative player, you know, that would allow us to possibly play 4 at the back, in my opinion, because you've got a more sturdy defense, you've got that creative spark in the middle, and you've got the 3 up top, Kulu, Son, Kane. I think it would work so much better. But the fact remains is that the defense at the moment, no matter what formation they're playing, they're a liability. And I'm including Romero in that as well. Okay, I'm including Romero in that as well because of his rash nature, his tendency to lunge in and everything else. Having said that, he is our best defender, and I'd have him over any one of those defenders in the team at the moment. The guy has so much potential. Okay,
Yeah.
But for me, it's just that the defenders that we have at the moment, we're lacking. We are lacking big time. And this whole notion of if we go to a back 4, we're going to magically play better. Yeah.
No, I'm not saying we're going to magically become like Manchester City.
The football might be better. The football might improve. Okay. We might show a bit more attacking intent and purpose, right? But ultimately, what are people going to say when we're leaking goals left, right, and centre?
But we're leaking goals anyway. We leak goals
we might
all
as
the
well
time.
try. We're leaking
don't
goals.
give anything
We
a
might as well
go.
try something different.
I hear this all the time, guys. I hear this all the time. We can't give it a go. Why not? We're not playing amazing anyway. We're leaking goals anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're conceding goals all the time. When was the last time we had a proper clean? When was the last time we had a clean sheet? Can you remember that?
Yeah, but even under Conte, when Conte was in charge, we'd be conceding silly goals. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
but my point, exactly my point.
Back 4.
So why can't we just give something different a go? Why can't we just go, do you know what, guys? Let's just change up the system here. Let's just give something different a go. It's not working. This hasn't worked. We keep conceding goals all the time. We leak goals all the time because we can't defend. So let's just try and go a bit more attacking. We've got good attacking players. I think I heard at the start of the season that we've got the best front 3 in the league. I heard that on channels from people, and I went, okay, I think Harry Kane's world class. I think Kulusevski's decent. He had a good end to last season. And Heung-Min Son, everyone was telling me he's world class. So why can't these attacking 3 players even attack anymore?
Right, quick one, guys. I've got a dash. Okay, but yeah, it's been a pleasure, gentlemen. Thank you very much for having me on, Has. Marlon, you can fill in the chat. All right, guys, look after yourselves. Take care.
Cheers,
Yeah, I need to go too. I just wanted to say one quick thing before going, which is about the defending. I actually made a thread about it. It's on my Twitter. It's pinned against the Big 6 teams and Newcastle. Every single game we have an individual mistake. I think it goes way beyond formation or system. I think a back 4 wouldn't really solve our problems because then we have Perisic and Porro who are not defensive at all, and then we're gonna leave our defense very exposed. If we play like just go forward and press high, our defenders will be extremely exposed and sitting back close to our goal with everyone in front of them. They're still making individual mistakes conceding goals. Imagine if they're not protected. I think that's the main problem. I don't think a back 4 would change much. I don't think it's going. Maybe it's not going to get worse, but I don't think it's going to improve. I think what we need to do.
It's not going to change anything in terms of
new
results.
Players.
Well, we don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't tried it.
Okay, this is the thing about football.
But
it just
gotta
doesn't
go
work
back.
on
Please.
trial
Thank you very
error.
much.
See you later.
See you guys.
The big managers like Conte, Klopp, Pep, they don't just work with a trial and error system of their overall tactics. They work with a proper technique that they know that yes, it's very obvious. Like even as somebody who's a fan, I can see that it's very obvious that back 4 is gonna look worse. Like you just heard, Porro is not a natural wing back. He cannot play as a right back. Even if he can, Paris is not a natural left wing. He's not even a natural left wing back. He is a left winger who has been converted as a left wing back. If he comes in and play as a left back, he's gonna be
Yeah.
You defended Conte. Why is Conte
because
playing?
because he could play. He did play quite well as a
Why is
left
he
wing
not?
back at Inter.
Who?
At Inter, he did play quite well as a left
Who?
wing back.
Perisic?
Perisic, yes.
Nah.
I mean, I'm not being funny. I could outrun him at the moment. Honestly, the guy is so
Yeah, you could,
slow.
yeah.
Guys,
now
He's come from a league. He's come from a league that is
He can't defend.
naturally slower than a Premier League that is
No,
so
it's not
physically
slow.
Yeah.
It's not
Oh,
slow.
please.
It's defensive.
Honestly,
It's
he's like
defensive.
he's running with 5 kilo weights behind him half the time.
Yeah, he's
guys,
very
I think
slow.
I've found.
But
I'm just gonna.
That's your
I'm just gonna
opinion.
share a-
There's no fact to prove it right.
I'm just
that's
going to
just
I
your
share.
can
opinion.
when
He
I
should
see
be
him
playing
getting
left wing.
outpaced by half of the teams, every single person he plays against half the time.
Yeah, he shouldn't be playing there.
Yeah, agreed.
Guys, I'm just going to share a potential. I'm going to share an image of a potential signing that would be really cheap, probably,
Go for it.
better job than Eric Dyer at the moment. And that's this: the JFC Dominator, the Dominator traffic cone 1000. And look, we can buy a pallet of 100 as well at princely sum, £999 excluding VAT.
That's a good price.
Very good price. Can come in, do a better job than Eric Dyer at the moment.
Love it.
Chat,
So can I ask
let
a
us
question
know.
though? Because I just wanted to ask a question on this. So yeah, I get it. Look, with Eric Dyer gets a lot of criticism, but look at the goals we conceded. By the way, look at the first one we conceded. That had nothing to do with like necessary Eric Dyer.
Yeah.
That's a system problem. The
It's not
first
just
goal.
him.
Not really. This
What? It's
system
not.
has looked.
It's not hit. What? Sorry, the first goal,
What do you
Lewis
mean,
Dunk's
Marlon?
header is a system problem. That's a system problem.
Yeah.
He's
Zonal
unmarked in the
marking.
box. He's
Yeah,
unmarked in
zonal
the box.
marking
Their
is
best
system.
defender.
Yeah.
Who does it fall to control the back line, in your opinion?
The captain or the manager.
Yeah.
Right.
Both.
So, do you think they would have set out their stall before the game to say, look,
Well, they should have.
Dunk's playing 6'4", make sure any set pieces, we need to have a man on him, stop his runs into the box, etc., etc.
You'd hope so. Clearly not.
You'd thought so, but this is
Yeah,
the
you'd
point I'm
hope
trying
so.
to make. It's all good blaming certain things, but that's a system problem, by the way. That has got nothing to do
Yeah.
with individuals. That is someone not doing their job, or if what people were saying about zonal marking. For me, I think zonal marking is crap. You go
Yeah.
man for man, and you can't lose your man. Zonal marking gets an excuse for defenders. Man mark, everyone man marks, and you mark it. You put your big guy on there, big guy, and you play it like that. He's a free header of their biggest defender, their biggest threat from set pieces, and we let him have a free header at the back post.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Shocking.
Yeah, Has makes a good point, and also arrange it as well. Zonal marking. I've never been a fan of zonal marking, if I'm being honest with you.
Yep.
That's something I want to see changed for next season. I want people on each back stick and near post, etc. For me,
Should be changed
zonal.
now. Not next
Yeah.
season. Should be now.
So just to put in what Scott M's just put in here, going system, but it is a system. If we're playing zonal marking, you're then not told to mark an individual player. That's how
That's the
the
manager.
system.
Yeah.
That
is the
literally is a
system.
system thing. If that's how the system is, if someone you can't have it both ways. It's exactly. If we're going to blame individuals, we can also blame the system, because the system let us down for that goal. Because who's left him free at the back post? Whose fault was that? Because it wasn't Eric Dyer's fault for that. It was somebody else's, because he was marking someone else.
But zonal marking to a certain extent works better as well in compared to man-to-man marking in many ways, because nowadays when you have variety of systems, unlike let's say if you're playing a 4-3-3 back in Premier League, when a lot of teams used to play a 4-3-3. Now you don't play a 4-3-3 anymore. You have a variety of systems and variety of formations. You have all sort of formations. So zonal marking is the way moving forward. Like if you look at a lot of championship teams these days, a lot of teams in the other leagues as well, they do play zonal marking actually, because you can do a lot of.
That's why they're in the
No,
championship.
The thing is that it's a new thing.
Gives it an easy way out for defenders, mate.
It's not an easy way out, actually. In my opinion, is the best way out, because if you're
We let them score. We let them score today by zonal marking. We let him.
The problem with zonal marking is that your players need to adapt to it. It's a player problem, not a system problem. Because if your team is adapted towards zonal marking, they can defend better. They know what their job is. But in this kind of thing, you have to micromanage with the man-to-man marking system.
Elias, even if it is, like you're saying, it's a player issue, then as a manager, it still comes down to the manager and the system issue, because you should change it. If your players can't do that, change it. That comes down to stubbornness. And every route you try and take, it comes back to the system being an issue. You can't
And
avoid
then
it.
okay, so then if let's just say he changes it, and then the players get pressed down, and then the players are not sure of their position because the
Well, we
positions are
shall
changing
see.
consistently. Then we change it again, is it?
Well, I'm not going to comment because I haven't seen it
because
yet. We shall
week
see. It
in
hasn't been tried.
We don't.
how do you know
We'll
that
wait and see.
zonal marking and man-to-man marking is something that's not very obvious? Who knows that maybe they have already tried it? Because to a certain extent, I
But
remember
we're
the
talking about
last.
if buts and maybes, mate. We're talking if buts and maybes. It's
Yeah.
the old saying. If my auntie had a dick, it should be me
And
uncle.
so are you. And so are you.
Yeah, it hasn't
by the way.
happened.
Guys,
Yeah,
I think
so are you.
we need to look. We could talk about all the mistakes that the team are making at the moment. Zonal marking this, marking that. One thing we do know for sure is that look, they're not going to change the system or the formation at the moment. The club come out through the mouth of Paratici and stated that the reason why they kept Stellini on and Ryan Mason as his number 2 was so that they don't unsettle the players who are already in that sort of rhythm of playing in a back 3 and in Conte's system. We know that's not going to change. Okay, so we could argue until the sun comes up. It's going to be a constant until the end of the season. The problem I have is we can't carry on riding our luck like we did today with VAR. And that's the other thing that I wanted to get onto was VAR. Look, I wanted to talk about the penalty decisions. Look, the first one with the Welbeck goal. Sorry, it wasn't a penalty, but the goal that Welbeck scored. Do we think that should have stood or not? I'll start with Harry.
It's an interesting one. I haven't seen it back, to be fair. It's one that, we've been on the wrong end of before, and we've been on now the right end. So it happens, but I think generally we deserve the luck we got today. As I said to you, the bad luck we've had this season and the bad decisions like against Southampton, that penalty I think is ridiculous. So yeah, it's looking at it, it's probably, if you're a Brighton fan, you're going to sit here and you're going to moan about it. But I'm not going to complain too much because I complain about VAR a lot, and it's been kind to us this weekend. So I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts. But I think it's deserved. It's deserved in a way because of the way Tottenham have had decisions against them. So yeah, but probably if you're a Brighton fan, then you would feel hard done by for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Elias, what do you reckon? The Welbeck goal. We know, obviously, I believe it was McAllister who held his arm in, skimmed off his arm and went in. Do you reckon it should have stood?
I actually didn't. I didn't see that point very closely. In my opinion, I saw the other two ones, but if the point is the VAR, I think the VAR this game was not that great, in my opinion. They made some really bad decisions. Although it went in our favor, I think it's anti-football in a way. It doesn't promote the spirit of fair play. And VAR should take a bit more responsibility for the decisions that they have been making, because some of them are very obvious decisions. I think that we as fans or players should actually take certain measures towards integrity and transparency from VAR as well. Like maybe in certain sports, like when there's technology involved, there's clear communication, like what's going on between the referee and the technology that is involved to make the decisions. At least make that visible to the fans, so at least the fans know. And I think Premier League was having this discussion last season, but they haven't implemented that. So we need to see that a bit more of transparency in that regards from VAR and the officials.
Yeah, agreed. I think transparency is always key in anything, to be honest with you. But Perchy, what do you make of it? Do you reckon that should have stood?
What? I mean, are we talking about all of them? Because we could probably be here all day. I mean,
no, I'm just talking about the Welbeck goal, because I'm looking at it from the point of view is if Harry scored that and it hit,
honestly,
I don't know, Son's arm, would be up in arms about it.
The decisions today were atrocious. I mean, I don't know if you're going to go through all of them. I could sit and break down every single one of those decisions.
Give it to me in a nutshell. I mean, do you reckon any of them were correct or not?
The Matoma goal, that's a disgrace. That's an absolute disgrace. That shouldn't have been ruled out. The Welbeck one, I think super harsh, but maybe right. and then the fact that they don't even get a penalty from Højbjerg stamping on his foot, it's near enough. We can sit here and say about how VAR has absolutely saved us, but I tell you what, normally, when you talk about it, you go, it's one decision. Sometimes you go, it's let us down. They've been let down by 3.
Yeah.
We
One
got
after
away
one.
with
It's one after
murder
another, wasn't
today.
it? Let's be honest, it was one after another.
Yeah,
Right. Every time, they had a decision, waiting on a decision from VAR, we was like, oh, here we go again, here we go again, here we go again. The one thing that we did do right today was actually score the second goal and not concede another one. The one thing that we did right today, which is surprising, really, because we all thought last 10 minutes, here we go again. Højbjerg was pretty similar to the one that Sarr conceded. Completely missed the ball, and that could have easily been given to Brighton. Look, whatever way you look at it, the stats back it up as well. Brighton were the much better side today. That's
by a country mile.
A fact. We were lucky, but also
Yeah.
we've got to give credit where it's due to Son, 100th goal in the Premier League for Tottenham
Such a
Hotspur.
great goal.
Absolutely fantastic achievement, and a fantastic goal to cap it off as well. Form is temporary, class is permanent. He proved that today again. He come up trumps with that goal.
True.
And Harry Kane just doing what he does. 9 seasons now, going on to 10, hopefully. He's banging them in a far inferior side. I did mention this earlier on as well. In a far inferior side to the one that Haaland's played in, who's knocking them in for fun in that team. I'm quite sure if Harry was in that team, he'd be knocking in 35 plus a season. There's no two ways about it. Okay, so this whole debate of who's better, this, that, and the other, look, I will always hedge my bets on Harry. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, just quickly want to say a big shout out to everyone, each and every one of you who attended the protest today outside the stadium. No matter how little or large the group were, you were there, you gave it your all, and it's appreciated. Not many people could do it, not many people can get down there. So big shout out to everyone that went down there today, showing support. I believe the rabbi was there as well today. If I'm not mistaken. So
he was there.
That's absolutely fantastic. Look, we want to pull in the same direction at the end of the day, and that is to see Tottenham Hotspur succeed. Whatever your stance is, whether you Levy in, Levy out, whatever it is, we all want to see Tottenham succeed.
Agreed.
But one thing that we can't sort of discount is the fact that everything stems from the top. Just like anything else in life, everything stems from the top.
Of course.
So, it's as the saying goes, shit rolls downhill and it starts from the top. So, yeah. Anyone else want to add anything?
No, spot on.
No, I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think yeah, you're right. I think the problem is that we all know it's going to be at the top, but we also know the further up the chain, how hard change is going to happen. So it's very easy. We all want change it. Oh, 1 second. So, I apologise. Someone's at the door.
Oh, that's right.
That is so loud. Change needs
I know
to
what
happen.
you're saying,
We do
Perchy.
need...
I know what you're saying. Sorry to cut you, but earlier on you mentioned if we don't play a back four, how will we know? Same thing with
Exactly.
if we don't protest, if we don't do anything, how will we know that we can't make a change? How will we know we can't cut the snake's head?
Because you are right. You are very right in what you say, but you've got to also remember though that changing a formation, for example, is easier than getting rid of a chairman of a multi-billion-pound company. That's the difference.
And that's the laziest thing to do, right? Because you're just changing a formation to temporarily solve problems.
I'm not saying they're equivalent, Elias. I'm just saying it's easier, for example, to make an adjustment on a formation than it is to get rid of a chairman of a multi-billion-pound company. That's the difference.
Yeah,
that's the difference here.
Easier and quicker.
What do you all make of the chanting today for Mauricio Pochettino? I'll give you my take on it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's ridiculous, and quite frankly, I'm one of Poch's biggest fans, but I think it's ridiculous that there were a large number of people today, fans today, chanting the name of Mauricio Pochettino when he's not even our manager. I mean, look, let's compare it to Leicester, right? Who are getting pumped every other week. Were they chanting Ranieri's name today at their ground when they were losing? He won them in Premier League?
Not that we know of.
No, I
they
think-
won. Right. So
yeah, no, I do get your
I
point.
aim
They're a
your
smaller club.
aim your frustrations at the people who deserve it. Okay. If you know, you know. But singing Mauricio Pochettino's name is not gonna make any difference whatsoever. That's my
Well,
take on it. I mean, what do you think, Harry? I'll start with you.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I've got to disagree. I agree with what a lot you've said tonight, but with this, I'm afraid I think it's different. I think singing Pochettino's name, that sends a message to Levy and the board who, don't tell me they wouldn't have heard it. I mean, you say it's not going to change anything, but they've only got to hear it and it's in their head all of a sudden. So I do believe that Levy not always listens to the fans, but we'll try and listen to the fans, like with, for example, this appointment of Scott Munn and potentially stepping away from the football side of things. He's obviously seen that what we all think about what he does in the football side of things, season ticket prices not being raised. I mean, that only came from us fans, supporters, trust, change for Tottenham, going on and on about it. So I think it's the same thing. I don't have a problem with it because there's still, as long as you're still supporting the team, you can sing an ex-managers. That's like saying, for example, I don't know, let's say Leicester, you use as an example, just they can't sing Ranieri's name even though he hasn't won a title. That's like with players. Sometimes we sing ex-players' names that, they've done a lot for the club. I don't see how people can have an issue with it personally. But obviously, as long as you support the team, that's the main thing. Anything else, Chip Levy out chance, Pochettino chance, so be it. It doesn't matter, does it?
Elias, Pochettino's name being sung. Okay. Harry is obviously, he's of the opinion that
That comment's spot on.
he should come back. He's perhaps going to, change things at Spurs. But my question is, Elias, he was let down once by the board. And since he's left, a huge amount of money has been spent, even though Pochettino at the time said he needed to rebuild the squad. Will it make any difference if he come back? I mean, a lot of fans are calling for him to come back. Will it make any difference if he came back? Will the board back him this time round? And will they allow him to rebuild this squad?
Well, it may make some form of difference when he comes back. Temporary difference. You may see a managerial bounce, and then you may see that attacking football that a lot of people love to see. You might see that tactical changes that everybody like to see, and then you'll starting seeing that there's the same old problems coming again. Players are retiring, players are getting older, and then you may not see players getting replaced. Same old problems would repeat again. So again, I think even if it's a fix, it's a short term and it's a temporary fix. So it won't solve the problems for Tottenham Hotspur on a longer run. In fact, to a certain extent, it would make things worse because it kind of just gives us a message that how sentimental we are as a fan base, I guess. Because if this happens, and I think this is in a response of sentimentality from the fans, like just that they had that attraction or that sentiments with Pochettino, and I think they're just reflecting that in terms of that. On the ambitious side of point of view, I think it's not that ambitious in my opinion. Like it doesn't show the ambition that the fan base has, in my opinion. Yeah,
It's a fair point. And yes, thank you. Perchy, what do you think about the chanting today? Will it make any difference if he comes back? Do you want him back at Spurs?
So I can break this down. I'm going to break this down with you. Fans are allowed to chant whatever they want, and I will stand by that. If people want to stand there and chant Enoch and Levy out, they're allowed to. If they want to stand there and chant about Pochettino, they're allowed to. You pay your money, you turn up and you say whatever you like without it being racist, homophobic, etc., etc. You can still relatively sing what you like. Let's be frank. Let's be honest. Yeah. Every fan has every goddamn right to say what they want within reason. That's not rude and derogatory in that way, obviously. So for that, do with it. Do I want him back? No, because I personally think about it in the sense of you don't really go back. I personally wouldn't, because he knows how we operate. It's probably a reason why he's not come back, by the way. He's probably looking back and gone, I ain't working there. Look how they treated me last time. I wouldn't blame him one bit if he didn't want to come back. If he does, well, I mean, it's more for the sentimental side of things, but yeah, listen, I don't want in that sense, but yeah, but that's personal, my thoughts.
Fair enough. Okay, so look, we've been going for just under 2 hours. We are going to wrap it up just after we get some predictions, as we always do on this show. Predictions for our next game, which is Bournemouth at home next week. Very important game for us, considering Newcastle have a tough fixture against Aston Villa. Depending on how that's going, it could be a very pivotal game for us. So I'll start the order in another way around this time. Perchy, Bournemouth at home. That it's apparently every game is a cup final. So how do you see our next cup final going?
We'll win probably 2-0 and play some of the worst football we play in the league. Again, like we do every single game, really. Literally the same. Harry Kane will do something special. We'll win the game, but it will be the most boring game of football again. Like every game, really.
In terms of result?
Yeah.
You know,
Do you see it going either way?
Or what's that? Sorry? Were you talking?
How do you see the game going? Do you reckon we'll win the game, or how do you see it going?
Yeah.
Just wanted the prediction.
No, we'll win. As I said, we'll win. We'll beat Bournemouth 2-0, but it'll be
2-0.
a boring result and it'll be terrible to watch.
Okay, fair enough. Elias, how do you see it going, buddy?
3-1 win, I think. But regardless of the football, I think win is a win. And the way they play and all that, I always enjoy the goals or the result, because it's all part of the process anyway. So it's always a joy to watch the games. Yeah.
Okay. So we're taking result of a performance. Nothing wrong with that, Elias. Harry, how do you see it going?
yeah, I can't see us losing the game. It's a game I can only see us winning. I said on paper, I think it's our easiest game I think we've got left personally. I'm going the same prediction as you, Percy. I had the same number in my head. 2-0 Spurs. I think Kane again will just be the difference between the amount of times we have to rely on him. I just think be fairly even game. We'll create more chances, but not be very good in front of goal. But Kane will be the difference, and I fancy him to grab a couple again. So we shouldn't have to rely on him as a big club, but sadly we do. We have to accept that.
Okay, excellent stuff. I'll let you guys plug away just before we go. Harry, I know you've got to shoot off in a second. You are on vacation, so I do appreciate your time being on the show with us. Harry, where can we find you next?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on, by the way. I know I come on quite often. I always really enjoy it, so thank you for that. You can find me every Saturday at 11 a.m. on Park Lane Podcast. I'm one of 4 co-hosts. I now have my channel, Scarfy Spurs Talk. I have my own show now, weekly show. So DM me if anyone's interested on Twitter, because my tag is there. Every Monday, 8 p.m. with special guests on. We've got Crackers on from Last Word on Spurs Monday, so I'm really excited for that. The response has been very good. So you much appreciated. Yeah, if you check out my channel, Scarfy Spurs Talk. But don't forget as well, importantly, to subscribe to A View from the South Stand. Has Marlon, fantastic. He got a great channel and a great future with the channel. And it's only going to go, up. Only sky's the limit for them. Fantastic job. So thank you for having me on once again.
Excellent. Make sure you get over to Harry's Twitter page. All the links are on there, I believe. So make sure you get over there, give him a like, give him a subscribe. Absolutely top stuff. And he's got a great show coming up with Crackers from Last Word on Spurs. Is it this week, did he say? Or
Monday, 8 p.m.
Monday, 8 p.m. So make sure you tune into that as well. Harry, thank you very much. Perchy,
sure.
I know you have merged with a channel, and you currently have your own channel as well. Tell us a bit more about that.
I haven't merged with the channel. Don't know where that one's come from. I haven't merged with anyone yet. No, it's just nothing's happening there. Like, I'm just me at the Perch TV doing my thing. We've got over 400 likes, subs now. We're flying at the moment. We're doing well. Mad how in a space under a month. Trying to get as much content as problem at the moment. It's a bit hard at the moment doing it from the UK. Obviously, I'm based in Spain with my setup, but that's why you've got me on the phone and not on my computer, on my webcam. But check over there, try and do daily videos and just check them out. The live streams will be coming back very soon as well.
Excellent stuff. Make sure you get over to Perchi's channel. Absolutely brilliant. And make sure you give him a sub as well. Give him a like. Watch some previous videos. Elias, you are thousands of miles away. Tell us about where you're broadcasting from and where we can find you.
Yeah, I'm broadcasting from Malaysia.
Wow,
So
all the way Malaysia.
yeah, all the way from Malaysia. So I do my fan shows usually a day after the game. So Sunday night this week will be my fan show. I'll be discussing about analyzing the game with some of the guests. I'll be having somebody on, mostly some of my friends, and then I'll also open the link to the chats to come and discuss the game with us. So this show will be tomorrow night, I think about 8-9 p.m. UK time. And then later on, I think I'll be at Vilstios 365 for the THFC Rant show as well. And then during the week, I do my pre-match show or pre-match talk show with one of the guests. I invite somebody, so you can check me out at Step Up Spurs. Yeah,
Excellent stuff. Make sure you get over to all three of these guys' channels. Make sure you like, subscribe. Absolutely fantastic stuff. They bring on excellent guests. It's always a balanced and intuitive experience. So make sure you get over there. And lastly, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's been involved in the chat today. Scott M, Nicholas, Ranjit, Laugh-O-Matic, everyone who's been involved in the chat. Thank you very much. Make sure you do give us a like, click the subscribe button, and make sure you follow us for the next one. We'll be back for that game against Bournemouth next week, where my co-host Marlon, or it might be me actually, we'll be back for that one with an instant match reaction. But for now, thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next one. Come on, you Spurs.
come on, you Spurs.